Dust off your old long boxes and adjust your pouches. We're going back to the 90s. It's time for a retro review of Spawn. All right, y'all. Welcome to the Nerd Cave. This is Ashton. As always, I'm joined by Casey. We are going to be reviewing some issues of Spawn. Um, so yeah, it's been a while. We kind of, I guess, accidentally took the summer off. It was unplanned, but
Yeah.
summer was pretty busy for me, and I mean it was for you too because we didn't really talk or do much during the summer.
Yeah. We were just getting my daughter ready for her second year in college. So she had her summer
Yeah.
break and now she's back in Alabama. So it's kind of just us again at the house. So I'll have a little time.
Yeah. Yeah, summer went by. It was busy and it went by really fast. We had the kids a lot during the summer. We usually alternate weeks, but we had them for huge chunks, pretty much twice during the summer. So it went by really fast, and I just didn't have a lot of time to do much video wise. But I've got a lot on tap.
Yeah.
I've got a couple action figures right here that I'm going to be reviewing. There's a quick preview. You can pause it if you want to
That
and
was
see what
nice.
that was. But my friend Jay is going to come talk about that figure with me, hopefully this week. People who have been with the channel a long time will remember him. He came and stopped in a couple years ago, and we actually talked about the Crow movie and lots of other random stuff. So I'm going to get him to come talk about that figure with me. And I've got another one right here beside me, and Lance and I are primed up and ready to roll for another Late Fee Legends episode. That'll be coming soon. And I don't know, all sorts of stuff. I got a few people lined up for some episodes of the Hangout. We've got South Mississippi Toy Fest coming up next month.
Yes. Can't wait.
So yeah, there's a lot coming up, and I'm excited about that. And hopefully, everybody watching or listening, will come along for the ride with us. Um, Speaking of which, you can jump on this train on YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, X, everywhere. So y'all just give it a like, a follow, subscribe, share, comment, everything, because we want this to grow. And I know Casey wants me to have a huge following and make millions, so I
Yes.
can throw some money his way probably. And we can retire from real work.
Yeah. Cause that's for the
And
birds,
and
but it's necessary.
oh man, it's so hot down here too. It
Yeah.
is so hot.
I
Do
think
you do
right.
you work out?
It's 100 and feels like 112 right now outside, according to my weather app. It's still like 10. So,
I believe it.
and
I believe it.
well,
Do you work
fortunately,
out?
I'm
And
semi outside. I'm
that's what I
in
was
a,
asking.
yeah, I'm
Yep.
in a hangar. We're out of the direct sunlight, but the atmosphere is still the outside atmosphere, just
Hot.
out of the direct sunlight,
Yeah.
which is a blessing because the direct sunlight work is not where it's at right now.
Awful.
And yeah,
Yeah, I was wondering earlier if you were in a hangar. I figured you
hmm
would be, and I also figured there wasn't an air conditioner in
no,
the hangar. So,
it's open.
um, yeah. So anyway, I guess we can get going here.
Yep.
Let me get everything pulled up. So I'm gonna call this is episode 4 of a retro review of Spawn, and I am calling this episode Angels and Aardvarks. Um,
Nice. I like that.
just yeah, uh,
That's
because there's
Spanish.
angels and aardvarks involved.
That's actually perfect.
I just call it like I see it, man.
Hey, whenever a story
Um,
writes itself, you just got to let it.
just let it roll. That's right. But so issue 9, 10, and 11 will be the ones that we cover this episode. Um, and hopefully we can get through it pretty quickly because I've got somewhere to be But I think we got plenty of time. We won't have to rush through anything.
Yeah, we
So
got
we're going to start with
three
issue 9.
episodes, so or 3 issues. I keep saying
Yeah.
episodes, but it's
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah. We'll be all right. So issue 9, um, the cover, we'll talk about the cover first. And if you're on, watching on YouTube, I will throw up a picture of the cover as we talk about it. I'll try to remember to do that when I'm editing. But, the cover has this woman wearing this armor and not much else. She's got this big spear looking thing, and there is what looks like spawn, but there's armor for that spawn too. And there's blood, and she is standing atop him victoriously. So, yeah, I don't know what's about to happen in this issue just looking at the cover.
No, you can assume that this lady is going to have a lot to do with it, though. And
Yep.
this looks like, just judging by the cover, it's 2 characters that are newly introduced in this issue that you're not used to seeing in the previous issues.
Yep. Yeah, no idea who this is. I don't know why Spawn's got that like helmet looking mask
Yeah,
and a
got a
shield.
shield,
So,
still got chains and a
all new
cape.
stuff.
So yeah,
Still got pretty much the same design you
color
can see
scheme. Yeah,
on the mask. Yep. So yeah, right off the bat, this cover's got me interested to see what's going on. And this is the first time I've read this issue since probably it came out. Um, so this was a fun trip.
yeah.
Uh-oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go.
I've actually got the physical copy of it to be able to read, and that's the first time in my life that I've had it, because it was hard to come by back in the day. I missed it on the shelves and never could find it again.
Well, this issue sold over 1 million copies, I think. So it was a popular one.
Yeah.
Which is one reason it's easy to find now, is there's just so many in circulation. And it's for a key issue with the introduction of a new character. It's not that expensive.
No, I think it'll probably be in the early series. I think it's minus the first issue. It's the most expensive one in the earlier series. But I mean, you're snabbing it for $15 to $40, depending on condition.
Yeah. And we know that Lance would spend the 40 to have that white cover nice and crisp and clean.
Yeah. They're hard to come by, that crisp, because it is a lot of white.
True. Yep. I might actually, when we go to South Mississippi Toy Fest, I might add this issue to my list of what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have it. I've never had this one. So yeah, I might try to track that one down.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
An extra issue, and I was gonna see if Lance wanted it, but I don't. If he don't want it, and he's gonna find his own, I'll just give it to you, because it's not a horrible shape, but it's not pristine by far. So
yeah. Well, that's all right. But this is issue 9, and the title is Angela. We got story by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is famous for Sandman for DC Comics, for their Vertigo imprint. That ran for 75 issues, I think, and it is top-notch storytelling. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it. You ever read any Sandman?
No, I'm not.
It's very good. I definitely think everybody should get their hands on it. You even watch the Netflix show, season 1. I think there is a season 2, but I haven't seen it. But season 1 is very good. It's very comic accurate.
That's nice.
It's one of the most comic. Yeah, it's one of the most comic accurate things that I've seen. It's so good. But so yeah, this is the second issue where Todd has brought in outside writers, and not just outside writers, but I'm talking like
top notch,
the best of the best. We had Alan Moore in issue 8, and now Neil Gaiman. And yeah, so this is, you can tell right off the bat that it's going to be something good because Neil Gaiman's involved. But art by Todd McFarlane, editor and letters by Tom Warzikowski, color by Steve Olaf, Ruben Rude, and Ollie Optics. And this issue is dedicated to Harvey Kurtzman. Do you know who that is? Did you look up anything on him?
No, I did not get a chance to.
Well, I will tell you this, that you saw his most famous work at the Hancock County Library System Fan Fest. Harvey Kurtzman is the founder of Mad magazine.
Ah, okay.
Nice. It started out as Mad with EC Comics, and then it switched over to Mad Magazine and took on a larger magazine format. But Mad's one of the probably the most famous like parody magazines in the world. It spawned a TV show in the 90s.
Yeah.
Mad TV, which I've been watching because it's on the Roku channel.
Mm-hmm.
And God,
it's so pretty funny, man.
I loved Mad TV. Yeah. I loved it. I loved it so much. But that's Harvey Kurtzman. He was the founder of Mad Magazine in 1952. So this issue is dedicated to him. Do you want to give us a rundown of what the issue's about? Do you want me to cover it?
We can just jump back and forth like we always do. I think it's better when we both get some input in.
Yeah.
Obviously, you open up right out the gate. You've got this lady who's distraught and begging for mercy, and you kind of notice there's a definition on the side that says Hellspawn. And throughout this issue, you'll see a couple of unrolled kind of scrolls that's given definitions and instructions along with the main story itself. And it's a forest, so it's not giving away too much yet. And then you see a corner of a cape pop in, which obviously is Spawn. But whenever the full picture of Spawn hits on the next page, you realize that this doesn't seem like it's modern times. And now
it's not our Spawn.
No. And now you realize why the whole Spawn's different. He rolls up on a horse, same armor as him, a shield, and the way they're speaking, you can kind of catch on to what time frame it's from. It's they're going to be in medieval times. You got a damsel in distress and a knight. Kind of weird to see Hellspawn as a knight, but obviously this Spawn goes through the same thing that Al Simmons is going through, where he just ended up here not really knowing that he's supposed to be a general in Hell's army, and he's just getting on through life. And I guess he chose a hero route.
Yep. And as it goes on, by reading the scrolls along the edges of the page, it's kind of it's given tips on how to hunt the Hellspawns, and it talks about using trickery and all that, and it becomes pretty evident that that's what's about to happen here, is that this damsel in distress is luring him into a trap.
Yes.
So she's got the story that her sister is caught by an ogre.
An ogre, yeah, and then taken into a cave. So she leads them to the cave.
They're going to fight Shrek.
Looks like as soon as they hit the cave on where it gets dark, which is the first time he kind of shows that he's not just an ordinary knight, where he lights up the cave with his power, and she asks him if he's a wizard. And one thing I did notice kind of right out the gate, that it seems like his power color is different than our time Spawn. It's a little more yellowish and orange compared to the green that we're used to seeing. And it still goes on, and you still got your scrolls explaining Hellspawn and how to defeat them. And so after that, hunting methods, all of a sudden, it's no longer a damsel in distress. It is a full-fledged armored female, weaponed out.
Yep, that we see on the cover. So now we know what's going on the cover. Yeah, she is pretty stacked as far as weaponry goes.
Mm-hmm.
Big old sword on her hip, and big spear.
Yep. There's a gauge, so you assume that he's got power levels that is not unlimited as well. And if he started off the same, then he's almost halfway through his powers. It looks like, judging by
looks
this
like he's been
gauge.
blowing through it.
So,
And they keep talking about in the hunting instructions that it's best to fight a young one, and so we assume that he's young. Hasn't had his spawn powers for a while, but he's blown through them.
yeah, they say they're still dangerous, but they're likely to be confused and rely on, they don't have full control and understanding of what they're capable of. So that's why I assume she tries to catch them inexperienced.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what do you got on this battle happening here? What's it look like to you?
It looks like that the Spawn's getting his butt handed to him. Is what it looks like to me. And he does, because she gets him with the spear thing, and that just takes him out, like completely takes him out. It pretty much evaporates him from existence.
Yep. And there's some comments in here, and that technically she just took him out of the suit remains, and I can't recall what she calls the suits. The Hellspawn suit and armors. There's a word that she uses for him. A carapace.
The carapace,
yep. Yep, the Hellspawn's carapace will and that's another reason that you have to be careful with young Hellspawn, she said, because of the suit will take over on its own to try to defend its interest, because it's a parasitic symbiote situation. So, and that's all that's left is just a carapace, just a suit. And I assume that she destroys it. Yep.
Do you know what? I got to be honest, I just looked up the definition of carapace because it's one of those words that sounds familiar, but I probably haven't used this word since I was in school, especially seeing the definition. Carapace is the hard outer shield or shell that covers the back of animals like turtles, crabs, and lobsters.
Nice. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what a carapace is.
So, yep. And
sure does.
And your next frames, she just destroys the carapace and picks up a medallion. And if you notice a couple frames before that, she's got several of those spawn medallions on her spear or her armor, where she kind of collects them, I guess, like the Predator would collect souls and spines.
I got to be honest with you, I didn't notice that. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yep.
Yeah, she's not a rookie at this whole spawn hunting thing, is she?
She is not.
Now that you've pointed that out, and I went back and looked, she's got 6 or 7, 8. She's got a bunch.
Yep. So you want to pick it up after the flashback of her destroying the spawn 800 years later. So you assume.
Yep. So we pick up
that age is not an issue
800 years later. No. Nope. She looks just as spry today as she did 800 years ago. So we pick up there. She's walking down the street in a business suit. And then we switch over to Spawn, who is asleep. And this panel's, it's his dream, and it's weird. It's these hands reaching out of a cage, and it's, it's not finished artwork. So I, assume it's a dream. Yeah. And I guess it's kind of a preview of what's to come. Definitely. But anyway.
It definitely is.
Yeah. So we Spawn gets awakened, and he's of course in an alley, and cops are looking for him. It's what we found out from the bums, and they tell him that they're not going to rat him out, so he's safe with them. And they say that they'll keep coming back and we'll keep covering for you. So that's cool. But then, as it moves on, there is an old bum there that requests some wine, a specific kind of wine, and Spawn's like, I don't know that I can do that. And this old guy pretty much tells him how to do it, how to use his power to conjure this wine. Yeah, just out of nowhere. Um, and I'd completely forgotten about this character.
Did you?
Um, yep,
Yeah.
I'd totally forgotten about him. I was like, oh yeah, I remember, I remember that guy. So Cagliostro is his name, and he says, he says his name, and he says, "At your service, Mr. Simmons." And then Al freaks out because he's like, "What did you just call me?" Um, so somebody knows who he is. Somebody knows about his powers. Somebody knows what he is. So that's pretty interesting.
Yep.
Then we switch over to that female character in an office building wanting to go see some lady. And so she goes in there, and we find out that her name is Angela because Gabrielle is who she's going to see, and she says her name. Actually, Angela said her own name right before that. But anyway, Angela is the character on the cover and the character from the past that killed that hellspawn. Um, so they talk a little bit, and she reveals to Gabrielle that she has a hunting permit for a hellspawn.
Yep. And we can assume that it's going to be our favorite spawn, Al Simmons. That's who it's going to be.
Yep.
She's going to be after.
Yep. Seems as if that's the case.
Yep. So
Um,
it'll hop back up
so then
kind
we,
of in the alley on after that with this character you
yep,
forgot about.
with the what?
With the character you forgot about.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. So yeah, we pick back up and Spawn's talking to this dude, this Cagliostro, um, and he reveals that he knows a lot about Spawn. He knows his name, he knows about his costume, he knows about the Malbolgia, um, he knows about the deal, and then Cagliostro says he made a deal with the devil, but have you even stopped to think about which one?
Yeah.
Um, and so this goes back to what I'd mentioned in like the first or second episode. Um, is Malbolgia the devil, or is he just a demon, like a high ranking demon? And now we know he's not the devil.
Yep.
So that answered my question from a couple months back.
Yeah. And it seems like there's another statement in that tries to kind of explains that pretty much everybody in this little alley at one point or another had made a deal with the devil. They all came from, they got maybe fame, a little fame. And there's, I think it's in this episode where you may see a guy that resembles Elvis.
Yeah.
In the alley hanging out with them, drinking some booze, fame, money,
Yep.
fortune. And just like any deal with the devil, it's never going to pan out for very long. And it doesn't for all these guys in the alley. It seems like they're all in the streets, you know, just bumming it out together and drinking wines. But he mentions that everybody here pretty much made a deal with the devil. So it makes you wonder if Malbolgia is not the main protagonist and who the heck is, because he seemed pretty powerful to be creating a hell army.
Yep, I agree with that. That's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and then after that little conversation, randomly here comes the chick in the trench coat and business suit in the alley, full of bums and Spawn.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us about this battle.
Well, it happens quick. They kind of notice her, and Spawn's like, "What the heck's this chick doing here?" Just out of nowhere, and then she transforms into her full brigade of armor and weapons, and goes to shooting with some sort of power that she possesses that you didn't see against Medieval. It was more of a melee fight. It seemed like with Medieval Spawn. And it seems like she's got some kind of cosmic powers as well. Luckily, Spawn misses the shot because you don't know what that would have done. She doesn't seem to have a power meter attached to her.
Yeah, she can just let it fly, it looks like, as far as we know. And she does, and he's like all hitting these matrix moves to dodge her shots.
Some little 90s action poses. I notice as I go through a lot of these comics I'm collecting that certain artists, I haven't really caught on to Todd yet, but certain, especially in X-Men and X-Force, you'll see certain poses they like to stick with, and they can draw a numerous amount of characters in that pose. So it's pretty funny seeing that.
Well, Todd does hit the Spider-Man, gives Spawn the Spider-Man pose in issue 11. We'll talk about that when we talk about the art.
Yeah. But it looks like he doesn't fare very well. Right after he dodges that shot, he looks like he catches a spear, and all of a sudden he's got nothing but a floppy suit and chains left.
Yep. And we think, well, there's the end of Spawn, but then his hands come up out of his cape and grabs Angela and pulls her down.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, she is not used to this kind of resistance.
Yeah, she's freaking out and even begging him, please.
This is a first for her, and there's in some dark place, the panel is dark. You can just see it's lit by power, a greenish hue. And Spawn has an abnormally high amount of teeth in his mouth in this panel, like you always like to point out.
I swear Todd needs to just buy a skull and have it on your desk, Todd. Come on.
So
is it that hard?
Yeah, it looks like she's being choked. And all of a sudden she's says that she can't, and kind of pauses, and you see her eyes kind of widen and the light comes out of them, and the cape that was on the ground that she got pulled into has a little light that shoots out of it. Looks like pretty fast as well. Past the skyscrapers and buildings, like she just teleported to save herself, or something teleported her, or some kind of defense mechanism. Yeah, I don't really know what happened. So then you got
maybe she died. I don't know. We don't know.
Then you see Spawn slowly crawling out,
which is really cool, by the way. Him crawling out of his cape with, it looks like blood. It's really really cool. Cool shot, cool drawing.
Yeah. Then it looks like he's got his friend Cog behind him still, and kind of explaining some more stuff to it. And I think right here is the first time we found out that she's an actual angel. So maybe that's why she had unlimited powers, and you can see maybe that's why she's hunting Hellspawn. She's got the crazy powerful weapon that just disintegrates or teleports the body of the Hellspawn. I don't think they ever really explain what happens to them when they leave. In this issue anyway. So, and then she's got that super fancy spear with the nice colored ribbons. And it's kind of cliche that Spawn turns into a toddler at this point with his action. he picks up this giant. He picks up this giant.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah, he picks up this giant shiny spear, and there's a button. And
Cagliostro the whole time's telling him not to touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it.
But he's like, ooh, shiny.
Yeah, and then pushes a button and disappears.
And his power meter goes to nothing. And then Cagliostro grabs his wine and leaves.
Yep. Said it's pity. He could have been the one. And that's it. And he just leaves. As fast and crazy as he showed up, I guess he thought that was it, and it's over with.
Well, what you think about that issue?
I like it a lot. It's a definite change of pace, and it seems like Neil was starting to build a hierarchy of a world that we haven't seen with Spawn yet, because up to this point, we've only seen mobsters, demons, the Violator, and he kind of stays in the city and the alley for the most part. I mean, he runs out on the docks to fight. You've seen the cyborg enemy, kind of your cliche, like 90s bad guys, you know what I mean? You got the mob, of course, as the ultimate bad guy group. You got your police, but it's kind of centered there. But now we know it seems like we knew there was a celestial war pretty much happening with Hell building the army, but now we kind of see the other side of it for the first time.
Yeah. Um, and it shows like, I don't know, I guess it introduced another threat to Spawn, that we wouldn't expect, but it's obvious now that it's there that the other side, heaven would be trying to stop him also. Which, after it happens, it's like, well, duh. Why didn't we think of that sooner?
Yeah. Well, I think because maybe, even though Al Simmons is made to be, uh, a Hellspawn and a general in Hell's army, it seems like on Earth, he's trying to avoid that route at all possible causes. He's, kind of like a famous anti-hero,
Yeah.
in the comics world. He was made to be a bad guy and a general in Hell's army, and here he is looking out for homeless people and trying to rescue people. And
Yeah.
I mean, he's got all the chances in the world and all the power on Earth to be a horrific bad guy unchecked, but he's not choosing that route. So I think you kind of lose touch with him having a good being on the bad side technically,
Yeah.
according to the good guys. So that's why you
Right.
forget about that a little bit.
And yeah, we forget that he is working for a demon, for a devil. And then we get this angel character, and she's throughout the issue presented as the bad guy, but grand scheme, I mean, she is the good guy,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things. So that's a pretty cool little, I don't know, balance, I guess, of good and evil, a really cool dichotomy, really cool, like flip it, flip good and evil. Very well done.
I guess, I assume that's why Todd brought in Neil to come up with a story like this.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely a change of pace.
It was. And it added another layer to the character and to the story. So tell us a little bit, Casey, about Angela and her creation, and a little bit of controversy surrounding her. If anybody's listening to this who is a current Marvel fan, you may recognize Angela as being part of Thor's universe, Thor's mythology, in the Marvel universe, and you might be confused as to why in the world is she in this Spawn comic made by Image that has nothing to do with Marvel. Tell us why.
It seems like in the whole reason Image was created, we kind of went over all the backstory with Image. It was so creators could own their characters, which you couldn't really do, for the most part with the two big guys is what they kind of call them, which we know is DC and Marvel. You don't have the rights to your own characters when you create them for those guys. I mean, I'm sure you get monetary payment. I'm sure they get reimbursed, obviously, but whenever we started Image,
Well, after a lot of like battles, yeah, I mean that's something now that I think a lot of the artists and writers are working with their contracts, that they get some sort of residual or whatever for their characters. Um, I mean, for years.
was it just like a one-time pay deal, like create this character for us and here's a little money,
Yeah.
and that's it?
Yeah, it was.
That's
It
wild.
was. Hey, you wrote this issue. Here's your payment for this issue, just like any other issue. I mean, it was a job.
Dang, you got Peter Parker, like he's taking pictures, and here's your $5 for his picture of
Yeah.
Spider-Man, going about your business.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
So with
go ahead, carry on.
With that being kind of in the back of your mind, you go to this Image where you got kind of free reign, and Neil wrote this whole story, came up with the ideas of Medieval Spawn, Angela, and Cog. They were his brainchild, but Todd did all the illustration and brought them to life on paper. And it was kind of like almost just a write for hire job. and it ended up kind of being like that for a while. But then they had some issues happen years later, and I'm not for sure what year it was, but it was a great while later that Neil said that they co-created and they had co-rights to those three characters, and actually took Todd to court for the rights.
That was 2000, 2002.
2002.
Is
Yeah,
when Neil sued Todd. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Todd, it's not like Todd just was like, gave him just like one little, I mean, he paid him pretty handsomely for his work. And then he was paying him, royalties as well, for the characters, because Angela was one of the first deluxe issue, toy figures that Todd Toys came out with, when he started going deluxe. So I'm sure Neil got royalties from that, but he wanted some ownership of those three characters, and it went on in court for a while. And I think they ended up ruling in Neil's favor that he had rights to the characters. And they said
in 2000, in 2012, he became 50% joint owner of the copyrights to Spawn number 9 and number 26, which I assume has something to do with Angela. We'll get there.
I would assume it has to.
And Angela issues 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, because they came out. He paid to come out with a miniseries, and I mean, it seems like if you just read just kind of what it is for Black and White, it seems like Todd was trying to screw him over, but I don't think it was that route at all. He was compensated, but I think he wanted to take it further because the character Angela took off like wildfire.
It took off.
Yeah, in the Spawn universe. Medieval Spawn was another action figure they came out with early on, probably in phase 2 of Todd Toys. They settled for, I think it was like $300 and something thousand. But there was an ongoing joke that it was the most expensive comic issue in the history of comics to produce because of all the lawsuits and money it cost.
All of that.
Yeah. And it's kind of ironic, that he's fighting for ownership of a character that somebody else didn't necessarily all the way create, but came up with the idea. And that's why they left Marvel and all the DC artists and formed Image was for free reign of their characters. And here we go, not 9 issues into Marvel. Image. It's like Marvel and not as bad, I don't think.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it does appear like there was some attempt to give Neil Gaiman, a little more recognition and a little more monetary reimbursement.
Yeah, I think he was trying to do right, from what I've read.
Yeah.
But still wanted to hold on to ownership of it because he drew them, I guess. And it was, so I don't know. There's actually a court proceeding and readings that you can go look up that I read a bunch of, but it's all legal, language and
bunch of legal mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, but they got like the whole court proceeding and monies pay out, all that stuff if you're interested in looking up that. So.
That's pretty cool. I'll have to look at that sometime when I'm super bored. Because
that's what I was doing.
What it take to make me read legal stuff.
Yeah. A couple nights ago when I was doing a little research for this issue, I looked up controversy with the issue or whatever and went down a rabbit hole, and that's where I ended up. So shortly after I went to bed, it was too much.
Yep. So that settlement in 2012 is what really cleared the way for Angela to leave the Spawn universe because Neil Gaiman had rights to her, and he took her to Marvel, where she was reinvented as a character part of the Asgardian mythology with Thor. And I don't read any Thor stuff, so I've never seen her in a comic.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But she's there.
Maybe something. I might look into it a little bit just to see how the Marvel Angela pans out compared to the Image.
Yeah. Well, if you do, let me know if it's worth reading. I might have to check it out too. But all of that, leading into issue 10, is thoroughly ironic.
It's the definition.
Thoroughly.
It's like if you looked up like a comic book definition in a comic book dictionary and encyclopedia, this would be the example to go look at. They would say, see Spawn issue 9. for the perfect example, issue 9 and 10.
Yep. And the second definition of irony is a bunch of guys dancing to a song made popular by a band that died in a plane crash while they're on a plane. Little Con Air for you there.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, Spawn number 10. We'll talk about that one now, and I'll put this cover up on the screen if I remember. So this cover is mostly black and white, except for a little patch of color. And there's this little weird looking dude that most fans of mainstream comics has probably never heard of before. Looks like an aardvark with a little vest, and he's standing there and he's like, "Gah, color," and that little part of him is in color, and the rest is black and white. So, looking at this, I didn't know what was going on.
Not at all.
No idea. Had you had any exposure? This is Cerebus, by the way, is who it is on the cover. He is a creation of Dave Sim, who wrote this issue. Do you have any experience with Cerebus before this?
No, I had not, honestly.
No. I feel like maybe I'd seen him in some issues of Wizard. Maybe.
That would probably be the only place that I was exposed to him. Would have to be a Wizard or something.
So I had seen him. Casey, I don't know if you ever went with me when we were kids, but right up the road from my house, just over the Pearl River County line, there's this old barn that was like almost like a flea market on the inside.
Yeah.
Did you ever go with me to that?
Yeah, we went.
And they had, and they had comics.
Yep.
Yep. They had comics. I wish I could go back and just buy every one of them. I remember they had a ton of Alpha Flight comics, and they had a ton of Cerebus comics. And I looked at them and I was like, no, that's kind of weird because, I just started reading them pretty much at the time, and I was really into X-Men, and this little aardvark dude definitely was not X-Men.
Yeah, it just wouldn't cut the action fulfillment.
No, but it kind of does. The early issues of Cerebus is a parody of like sword and sorcery Conan type stuff, which I would love to read. I need to track it down and read some Cerebus. But if only I could go back and just buy every comic there, that would be awesome. I can only remember 2 comics that I bought, and I got them because they were old. They were 1970s issues of Nick Fury, Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
There's an issue of that from like 1978, and I think an old issue of House of Mystery, House of Secrets, one of those two. And I was like, ooh, I've got comics from the 70s. That's so awesome. Which they were barely 15 years old at the time. But I just thought it was so cool. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's just a random memory I thought of while I was thinking about Cerebus. You got anything to add to the cover? I kind of talked a lot. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, not really. Obviously there's going to be some confrontation or you'll figure out why this little guy is so adverse color. And obviously Spawn is with him. So wherever Spawn went, they might explain where he went and why this guy's here. Just judging by the cover because they're together.
Yeah.
It's going to be strange. I know that much just by looking at the cover.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. So this issue, number 10, is called Crossing Over. Story by Dave Sim, who I already mentioned. He created Cerebus. Cerebus actually at the time was the longest running independent comic of all time.
Oh.
Yep. I think there was like 300 issues, right at 300 issues at the time, or right after this. Spawn since has passed that because they're up to issue 375, I think. Yeah. But so that's pretty cool. So Dave Sim wrote it. Art by Todd McFarlane, editor and letters Tom Orzechowski, color by Steve Olaf, Ruben Rude, and Ollie Optics. And this is dedicated to Don Heck. Don, you know anything about him?
No.
Nope. He co-created Iron Man, the Wasp, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Wonder Man. He penciled the Avengers comics pretty much from issues 9 through 40 in the 60s. He also penciled X-Men right before and after Neil Adams did the pencils. Issues, 56 through 62, 54 through, I don't remember. Neil Adams, anyway, he was before and after Neil Adams on X-Men. So Don Heck's kind of a big deal in the comics industry, especially if you're a Marvel fan, which I don't care for any of those characters he created. People are
Yeah,
amazed that I've
I
still
never,
never seen a
never was.
Avengers. Yeah,
Yeah,
it blows people's minds that I've never seen, still haven't seen Avengers Endgame, but I haven't because Infinity War was terrible, and I just don't care about Avengers characters. Um, and that's when we lose our audience. Sorry about that.
no, it's okay.
Sorry for running y'all away. Um, I'm a DC guy at heart, DC and X Men. I'm sorry. Um, so anyway, yeah, Don Heck, famous penciler, co-created a lot of major Marvel characters. All right, you want to start us off talking about the issue, or you want me to start?
You can start this one. Just kind of go in, and I'll just kind of pick up whenever you get tired of talking.
All right. Um, so on the first two lines of this issue are, "I am Spawn. I am not Spawn." And from there, it's kind of like, oh, this should be fun. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen in this issue. Um, so it's just Spawn kind of talking about, he knows his memories. He remembers his death. He knows about the Violator. He knows that he's got Wanda and Cyan. He can still see the heart, his heart beating in the Violator's hand. But he also says he knows many things that Spawn doesn't know. He knows the names of the two detectives that pursue him, Sam and Twitch. Um, he knows when and how they finally meet. He knows why the little one's called Twitch. Just all sorts of things that haven't happened yet that he says he knows about. Um, I don't know. It's kind of weird. This issue starting off kind of all over the place. What you think about that?
Yeah,
Do
it
you have
is.
any?
No, it is strange. He's just going back and forth. Like he clearly is in a place, kind of a in between place right now, even in his thinkings with the I am Spawn, I am not Spawn, and he's just remembering everything, and it's just going to get a little more unclear as we go with this issue.
Yeah. Yep. He knows the tower in hell where the Violator dwells. He knows every level of the tower, every level except one level. Level 7, except Erebus. And I don't even know what that meant. I guess that's maybe the name of level 7.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But he teleports and says that teleporting doesn't drain his powers because he's not Spawn.
Yeah.
Um, it's just weird. So he goes to this big door, which I wonder if is this level 7? Is this where he's going?
One would assume that it's going to be level 7 because he intentionally teleported. I mean, he said he knows them all except level 7, and it's just
And then
easy
he
enough
shows
for
up
him to
at a big door.
teleport. So I would assume it's going to be
Hmm.
level 7.
So gets to this big door. He opens it, and you see these dudes in masks, like hoods over their heads, and they're tied up. Um, he says he doesn't know them, but he feels a connection to them. Without them, Spawn couldn't exist. Um, and then on the next page, we get a page that blew my mind when I bought this issue originally back in the day. You see very familiar looking hands sticking
You
out of the cage doors. I
remember?
mean, just
If you remember back to issue 9, that dream sequence, this looks like the finished product.
Yep, this is definitely the fully drawn, fully realized version of the dream that he was having in the previous issue. And these hands, I'll throw up a picture if I think about it. I mean, you can see Juggernaut, there's the Flash, there's Superman, Doctor Doom, Hulk, Captain Marvel, or Shazam as he's called now, Batman, Wonder Woman,
Spider-Man,
Venom, Spider-Man, Thing,
Wolverine.
Wolverine. There's a Doc Ock tentacle going through there. You see the Joker, Punisher. A couple I don't recognize.
I wonder if that could be.
It's probably Marvel characters that I don't really know about.
Right above the Hulk. Is that Apocalypse's gauntlet, maybe? Or would that be?
Maybe. I thought it was Doctor Doom.
Maybe so, but who's the other Doctor Doom like hand, or is that the other hand in between, right above Wolverine? Right above Wolverine's.
That I don't know. That one may be Doctor Doom. I don't know. You could be right about Apocalypse. Point is that these are not Image characters, and there are their arms right there, and we know what it is. I mean, we know that. I mean, that can only be Wolverine, you know.
Yeah.
And that can only be Batman.
Spider-Man.
Only yeah, it's obvious that
it is obvious enough who it is without copyright infringement.
Right. And 12-year-old me, I was when I saw this. I was like, how did they do that? But little did I know, like even reading this issue back then, I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, because you don't even know the backstory of how Image was founded or why, because you're just collecting comics and just getting them where you can, getting them where you fit in with them.
I know. Yep, just picking up. And I didn't have issue 9. I think for Spawn, I had issue like 1, maybe issue 5, and this one. So I didn't even have all the issues. But yeah, it blew my mind, and I had no idea what the story was about. But reading this comic, which I guess we'll get to it at the end after we finish summarizing, I'll go more into detail. But this is one of my favorite issues ever of any comic. It's just so good. But so yeah, those dudes with the hoods are standing across looking at that. The men in the hoods are crying. They tremble. The other ones. Oh, by the way, it says they are just, talking about the hands. They are just. They are noble. They are heroes, champions, watchmen, avengers, defenders, men of steel, women of tomorrow, gods of thunder, crusaders. So it wasn't really trying to hide.
No, like I said, it was tiptoeing right on the edge of infringement without crossing the line, but it was stepping all over it.
Yep. Hey, I think that may be Beast besides Spider-Man, right above Wolverine. Yeah. Anyway, it says they are justice, they are nobility, they are trapped, they are screaming. They're saying injustice, please. So immediately Spawn starts. So anyway, I started blasting. He started shooting his power at the cage, trying to set him free.
Because apparently he
had no effect.
He has unlimited power and wherever he's at now.
Yeah,
because he's not Spawn, and he keeps.
Yep. He's not.
That's over and over and over again. I keep seeing it pop up, and he's just like, I'm not Spawn, so I can do what I want. I got unlimited power. I know all this stuff.
So nothing happens to the bars, but then he starts hearing their voices, and they keep saying, "Take our power, over and over again." It says, "We are heroes. Our power is yours. Take it. Our power is yours. Take it." And then there's one voice that stands out above all of them, and what do they refer to him as? He who existed first. What is it? He who came first. and it is very clearly Superman. It's his face and body are in shadow, but he's got a red cape, blue
suit,
sleeves, blue pants. Yep,
and
yellow
and
belt. It's Superman.
it says my planet exploded and I was sent to Earth as an infant, so it can't be anybody else.
Yep. No, it's this clearly Superman. It's very kind of looks like Frank Miller's Superman from Dark Knight Returns. But yes, the voice of He Who Came First. And, Superman is credited as being the first comic book hero, Action Comics #1. But he's trying to give Spawn his power. And I don't know what this means. As a kid reading this, I had no idea what in the world he was talking about. But their power went into him. It surged through his body. He says that his power that he thought was unlimited because I am not Spawn, he said is nothing compared to this. So he's got all of their power, and he strikes to no effect yet again. And then we've got probably the scariest looking woman I've ever seen in my life, because it's the Violator. Kind of the Justice is Blind statue,
Yeah, it
the
looks like
woman with holding
like Justice
scales
for
and
sure.
blindfolded. Yep, it is Justice, but it's the Violator's head, and it's very scary, and I don't like it, and I can't unsee it. You want to take over there?
Yeah, this definitely does represent the Justice. Got some scales, just like Justice is supposed to be blind, and on the scales, it's a black heart covered in blood, and all the cash in the world is the way it's described here. And it looks like the dress is made of dollar bills in this description. There must be billions of them, probably more, is what it says. And it's just strange because you have no clue reading it. I mean, why is that even relevant to this issue? You know what I mean? And then you obviously he hears some weeping softly behind him, and we go back to focus on the guys in the hoods with their hands tied. And that's still no explanation. And then behind the bars, it looks like everyone's gone except for the first one. And he just says one thing, Doomsday. And obviously, I still don't know how this is relevant in the image, but Doomsday was one of Superman's main villains back around that time. Was it around the same time with Doomsday and
so.
Superman?
I get my years confused sometimes, so I'm not. It had to be around the same time.
Yeah. So he's just there.
I mean, clearly, if Doomsday was mentioned, because Doomsday was introduced for the Death of Superman story.
Yeah.
So
I think it may be around the same time, maybe before. And then it said everything's quiet and silence is agony. And then all of a sudden you hear someone call Spawn's name, and it's two little small frames, and there's your other cover guy, the little aardvark animal. And we go to black and white. And he says, come on, let's go. You don't know where they're going. And Spawn still has it in his head that he has to save all of those guys. It's behind the bars and all the guys with their hoods, their hands tied. And this little guy tells him you can't. And he goes on telling a story. Tells him it's best not to think about it. And I said, he's been there for 15 years and you still don't know where there is now because they're black and white. Did it switch? Are they still in the assumed 7th level of hell? And Spawn's curious to who are they? And he gets his answers, superheroes like you. And he asked about the men. And he said it's their creators, the ones who sold them. It's best not to think about it. So again, as someone from outside, not knowing any history of how Spawn, Image and Spawn came to be, and the whole Image and all the Marvel and DC artists leaving. You still have no clue. This is just strange in the realm of Spawn. What is this issue even doing? Or what are we getting to, and why are these characters here? It's still pretty strange. So they're just scrolling through town. And he said Cerebus will take you home. So they're just walking through this black and white place, and Spawn's like a home is everything's gray, and he's just now figuring out that it's all black and white. And I guess he doesn't really get his answer, but they end up at this house, pretty nice looking house, and they walk in.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful house. Everything's back in color. Spawn's still in a suit. His wife will be home soon. So as a Spawn fan, you're like, what is he talking about? The wife will be home soon, because he's still in a Spawn suit. Then you find out that this next page, you and Wanda have a daughter, and he's got this kid, and we'll talk about this kid when we revisit this issue. And Spawn starts crying. He sees the kid calling him Dada. He's tossing the kid up in the air in the Spawn suit. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here, reading this, trying to make everything fit in. And his Spawn's here with the Aardvark at his house. Everything's perfect. Wanda comes home from work. Everything's good. Yeah, and the Aardvark leaves. And the last thing is, it looks like Wanda opens the door and comes in. And Spawn says he had a bad dream, but he thinks it's over. And the little kid just keeps saying Dada on the way down the steps. And that's it. It just leaves you just boggled, in my opinion.
Yep. And it says Spawn is trademark and copyright Todd McFarlane. Cerebus is trademark and copyright Dave Sim forever.
Yeah.
And big words.
And this is the first time that they big lettered this copyright trademark type of deal that I recall. I don't ever see any signage like this with the word forever. And then you get next Frank Miller. And I'll let you handle this one. You probably know way more about Frank Miller's work than I do, being a DC guy, perhaps.
Well, let's just go ahead and talk about the issue first. Issue 10. Yeah. We didn't really break it down, or what. I mean, this issue is kind of, what's the word? I can't think of words right now. I'm missing my Sunday afternoon nap to record this episode. So I'm kind of, if I start dozing off, I apologize. But this whole thing is allegorical, I guess, of how, what we had talked about earlier, how the creators of these characters have no rights to them. Earlier we saw the people tied up in the hoods. Those were the writers of all these characters.
And
the characters were in the characters were in jail trying to get out, and their creators couldn't do anything with them because their hands are tied, their characters are behind bars. So they created all these characters but can't do anything with them. And that's why we got at the end, the very last thing is that Spawn is trademark, copyright of Todd McFarlane forever. Spawn's kind of the great hope for superhero comics and for comics in general going forward, and that Todd owns him and he can do whatever he wants to with him.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the other heroes trying to give Spawn their power because they can't. They're locked into, whatever the big two, Marvel or DC, whatever they want them to do, they were locked into that. And Spawn, however, is different. Spawn and Todd, that's creator owned. So he has the freedom. You notice he wasn't behind the bars. He had the freedom to walk around wherever he wanted to. And it's just so funny to me that this issue came right after issue 9.
Yeah.
And with all of the stuff that eventually happens with Neil Gaiman fighting for the rights of Angela.
Yeah, right after, not even after like issues down the road after, directly after. And obviously they didn't see it.
Yeah.
Todd didn't see it playing out like this when he did 9 and 10 back. So there was no foreshadowing or anything, but
Yeah, and it was a little while later that all that finally happened. But yeah, it's a really cool issue. I feel like just pointing out, that creators probably should have some stake, should have some say so in who they created, their characters they created, whether it was a work for hire thing for Marvel or DC back in the day, or even Neil Gaiman with the work for hire, for Todd himself. Um, but I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I guess as a creator, you've got to choose what's more important to you. Making money now and playing in somebody else's sandbox, which is what you're doing if you write for Marvel and DC. You're at their house, you're playing with their toys. You
Yep.
can't take you can't take their toys with you when you go home. Um, but you know, Todd and all the guys in Image, they wanted something different, and that's what this issue was showing what they were trying to go for.
Yep.
With the creation of Image and all their characters.
Yeah. And I'm
Really
wondering if,
cool issue. Really
yeah,
cool issue.
and I'm wondering if Spawn saying he had unlimited power here, it was kind of like his unlimited possibilities at Image Comics because you own
Yeah.
your characters, you can do what you want to do. And that's why that was mentioned several times. He had unlimited power.
Yeah, unlimited power. Yep.
Yeah. Wonder if that was kind of like a dual purpose statement.
Yep. Very, very cool stuff in this issue.
Yes, for sure.
Also, we hadn't really mentioned this. I don't recall. Maybe we did, but I don't think we have. That Todd McFarlane's wife, her name is Wanda, and they do have a daughter named Cyan.
Yeah.
Cyan, however you pronounce it.
And what about
that's
Terry as well? Doesn't he know he's a real person, Fitzgerald?
Yeah, Terry. Oh, yeah, he's mentioned in the credits for some of the issues as being like the editor or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, Todd's taking people he knows and putting them in comics. Pretty cool. And also, I was wondering if this was actually Todd's house. It says it's got a great view of Mount Hood, which is in Oregon. I think that's where Todd was living at the time.
Could be.
Out of Portland, maybe.
It was a real, literal issue. When it came out,
it was.
When it came out and you read it, it was all just a comic and figurative. You know what I mean? But when you,
at least when you were kids like us.
Yeah, when you're a kid. But when you actually know the backstory behind it, everything's symbolic in that issue. Not quite sure where the Aardvark fits in, Cerebus, besides that's who did the story for it.
Yeah.
And brought in his little character.
And
brought his character in, Todd.
And I think,
asked him to come do it, and he's like, I'll just add my guy in it. And
because he can, I think that's part of it is that, they've sent him on Cerebus and he can do whatever he wants to with
so
him.
He can cross over to a weird Spawn issue and just bring him over and fit right in with no problems.
Yep. That's what happens. I don't know. I haven't looked this up. I don't know if it's true, but could this have been an invitation for other creators to leave Marvel and DC and come to Image? I bet it was.
Yeah.
I bet it was like, hey, look what you can do over here.
Yeah, unlimited power with your characters.
Maybe so. I hadn't really thought about that until just now. Yeah. But like you said, unlimited power with the characters. Very cool stuff. So finally moving on to issue 11. This one, well, we'll talk about the cover. You want to talk about it first? I feel like I started every cover discussion.
Well, this one, it looks like it's back to Spawn, regular old business as usual. There's Spawn, giant cape. He's breaking through a wall, and a group of looks like armed people. They got some pockets and vests, and don't really see too many weapons, but it looks like they're two similar colored groups of people with their uniforms. They're all in uniforms, and he's just busting through them and tearing the alley up. It looks like there's not much to go on, except there's going to be a huge fight in this issue, just judging by the cover.
Yep.
So it looks like it's back to Spawn as usual, pre not issue 9. Action and fighting and Spawn in the alley.
Yep. And I don't really have anything to add to that. That was an excellent summary of the cover.
Yeah, like I said, not much going on.
Nope. There's not a lot going on in the last issues, and it looks like this one's going to give us some some violence, and it does. It's an awesome scene at the end of this issue. But anyway, this is issue 11, and it is titled Home, and it is written by Frank Miller. And Frank Miller, I mean, what can even be said about Frank Miller at this point that hasn't been said already? His stuff in the 80s, phenomenal. His stuff lately, have you seen any of his current covers that he's been doing for random Marvel issues?
I think you pointed a couple of them out to me, and it's lost a touch, kind of, I think.
Well, yeah, maybe. And maybe he's just settling into this weird stylized thing in his old age. But I mean, it kind of started with Dark Knight Strikes Again, that weird kind of art. But anyway, Frank Miller, probably most well known for The Dark Knight Returns, which is one of my favorite Batman stories. Takes place in the future. It's the Batman who is old. Read it if you haven't read it. Like, do you even like comics? It's one of, and if you don't feel like reading it, there's an animated movie, 2-part animated movie about it. Watch that. It's pretty accurate. But Frank Miller mainly got his start for mainstream in Daredevil, which he started off drawing it and then took over writing duties. And that's kind of, I mean, his work on Daredevil has influenced everybody's work on Daredevil since then. I feel like he introduced Elektra and that whole thing, and it was so good. He wrote, which I haven't watched the show. Do you watch Daredevil? Do you watch the show?
I've started it. So I'm trying to make my way through it a little bit here and there, but I'm not too invested in it yet.
Yeah, I've watched the first couple episodes of season 1 a few times, and Satchel won't watch it with me, so I don't really get to watch it. Which I guess I could without her, but I don't know. I like my wife. I like hanging out with her.
Yeah.
So, I choose to do that instead of watch Daredevil. But the new season's Born Again is based off of a Frank Miller story, and it's so good. It's really, really good. My favorite Daredevil story. So yeah, Frank Miller, legend, total legend. Kind of gone off the rails lately, but whatever. Art by Todd McFarlane, editor and letters Tom Warzakowski, color by Steve Olaf, Ruben Rude, and Ollie Optics. And this one is dedicated to Gil Kane. Do you know Gil Kane?
Nope. But I have figured out with this episode we're doing, I'm going to look up every one of these guys it's dedicated to, so I can join your conversation with them, because I haven't ran into too many yet that I've recognized. So
I will say this, that Gil Kane's work just because he's done everything. If you name a comic book character, he has drawn them, most likely. He is known for creating Hal Jordan along with John Broome. John Broome and Gil Kane co-created Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. The Ray Palmer Atom. With Roy Thomas, he co-created Iron Fist and Adam Warlock.
Okay.
And he literally he's drawn everybody. All right. So after a little bit of a delay that I edited out, Casey, tell us about this issue.
As soon as you jump in this issue, you've got a hand, Spawn's hand is reaching up, and this guy in his face may or may not be familiar. It's just one of the guys in the alley, and is calling for Al to wake up, snap out of it. So obviously, Spawn's kind of going crazy, coming to and yelling. So they smack him, and just like anybody would to get you out of a bad dream. So he finally comes to and realizes where he's at. All the guys are there. He's doing a little quick explanation. He said it was too weird. Demons and new age girls, and then talking to Aardvark, and they're like, what the world are you talking about? Or they're like, well, you're back here home now. So, they're just hanging out. Not much is going on. He says you've been out for a while. And they ask him, they ask him what's his story. He's never really sat down with them and had a drink and told them his story. He knows, I assume he knows all their backstories, and what they used to do or whatever. And he's like, I don't have enough time to go down that road. So, so they're just hanging out, and they explain a couple of the guys and nicknames and why they got them. And then all of a sudden you hear a boom, and Spawn goes running out the alley into action right towards danger, as he usually does. And, dude's trying to stop him, holding on to his cape and telling him that would be the cops. Don't go that way. They're looking for you still. But then Spawn explains, or Al Simmons, that it's a 50 millimeter tsunami, which is, a Japanese weapon, apparently. Is cops don't use that, the military does. So he's peeking around the corner, and you see an explosion, tires, garbage, and this chick flying through the air. I guess just got hit by the weapon and hit Spawn in the alley. And she asked Spawn to save her.
I did, real quick, want to interject. I did like the description of what that weapon would do to you. It says use it on a human, and you're talking spaghetti sauce, the lumpy kind.
Yeah, it is. It is a good description.
Pretty powerful, apparently.
Yeah. And by the way it hits Spawn, actually gets hit with it. It goes through him and right through the chick. And here's the reference, spaghetti sauce, the lumpy kind. That's what they'd both be if Al Simmons were still human and still alive. So it shows them both on the ground, and you see a giant shadow behind them. And it says the girl's dead. And then you get introduced to another character, and when it comes, is a big guy. It looks like just a normal action, villain type of guy. As a name must be Boomer, because that's what he has on his helmet.
But to the max, he's like an amped up. Frank Miller. This is what Frank Miller does. He kind of, and I don't know, he can make normal military guys extreme.
Yeah, he's huge, big guy, big gun, and must have 1 million rows of pockets. He's got pockets on his thigh, pockets on his calf, pockets on his wrist, pockets on his shoulder, 90s. Pockets on his shoulder straps. And I'm sure if it showed his boots more, he would have pockets on his boots.
I bet the pouches have pouches too.
He's standing over Spawn with a giant hole that you can clearly see through all the way, with some green necroplasm coming out. And this guy assumes he's mad because he killed his pal, assuming he killed Spawn. Says maybe he ought to kill him too, you old drunk turd, which was a little funny dialogue. He said he's got a case of the nasties tonight. So apparently this is not a nice guy at all. But then all of a sudden you see Spawn jump back in business and says, "Me too." And he grabs his weapon from him, and the guy looks shocked. I mean, you can tell Todd did an excellent job at showing exactly what this guy was thinking when Spawn jumped up with a hole in his chest, because apparently this guy's never ran into it. So he's just surprised and flabbergasted, and turns around and runs out the alley because he just shot a hole in this guy's chest with this 50 millimeter tsunami weapon, and he jumped back up. So Spawn,
he's also got green blood.
Yeah, got necroplasm flowing out of him. So obviously,
green blood.
He's
probably freaked him out.
Yeah, he's not just some disfigured bum that hangs out drinking wine and alcohol. So, but Spawn has to heal himself. So he does. And now he's going to go find out what this guy's deal was and where he came from. So it shows him traveling through the city. Goes up on looks like a rooftop kind of deal, looking in a skylight. And here's this guy talking, and it gets strange here. I don't know if you noticed. There's another big giant guy. All of them have
way bigger,
abnormally large, more military looking outfits, pockets, guns. And the writing's so weird. I don't know why they chose to do this. Some of the letter combos are backwards, words are backwards.
It's Frank Miller. If you, The mutants in Dark Knight Returns, like they've got this weird language. I mean, it's English, but it's just kind of like a weird vernacular that they use. That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's very similar to this. It's just that's a Frank Miller thing.
Yeah. So and it goes on for a while like that. But this big guy is described as the cyborg enforcer of the nerd gang, big, mean, and stupid as they come. So he snatches this large guy up who we thought was large, and they come out and you find out that this is the nerd gang. And this guy did what he was supposed to do, and he's in trouble for some reason. And let me see where they find it. It's the nerds and looks like the leader.
The creeps.
The creeps. Yeah, here it is right here. Nerds kill creeps and we are nerds. So this guy gets in trouble for running away from a fight. And it looks like the bigger guy just fries his head, and that's the end of the small big guy. And obviously this comic's going in one way. It's just going to be action gang fight, a turf war in Spawn's home, right in the middle of it is what the next issue says. So here,
which is it's kind of welcome after the last couple issues.
Yeah, you're back.
Well, the last three, because issue 8 was the weird Alan Moore issue.
Yeah.
So after some weirdness, we're back to good old violence.
Yeah. Hold on, man. Let me get this over here. My dog's up in my camera because he's been by himself too long. But right then and there, Spawn decides that he's not just going to jump through the skylight like you would expect him to and just start mollywopping everybody and fighting, because his power level is down. He just healed himself. He just had a giant hole blown in his chest, so he's not at full strength. So he's going to head back to the alley. And when he gets there, the two guys are trying to figure out what to do with this dead girl who's got her whole insides is missing, and she's laying in a pool of blood. They're trying to figure out what to do with her. And all of a sudden, you see these other guys show up in the alley. One big, gigantic guy, like huge. Where they find these big guys from, but there's an abundance of them and then normal small people. He shows up and picks the girl up off the ground. So this is the cyborg enforcer for the creeps. So apparently these guys are cybernetically engineered. Probably like Overkill, maybe not as technical as Overkill.
Probably not as much. Yeah.
But somehow these big guys are enhanced, and hence the reason they're so giant. But they find the creep dead, and they're super upset. And the two of Spawn's friends is like, "Oh, don't mind us. We're just fixing to get on out of here because this is the strangest thing that's happened in this whole alley in a long time." So they're trying to mosey out, and the big guy grabs him up by the head and is fixing to smush his head. And all of a sudden you see another shot come in the alley, and big guy gets hit in the back and goes down. And it's Spawn standing with the gun that he stole. And he starts kind of shooting those guys to protect his friends. And then the most 90s thing can happen. This guy doesn't have pouches, but he's got a bunch of little guns that pop up out of a wristband. So he starts shooting at Spawn. He's jumping and flipping out the way. And then all of a sudden, Spawn summons Hellborn power, and it doesn't really explain what it is at first, but then it says you gotta stop. And Spawn's doing all this magical, you've never seen him do it before, and he ends up summoning and tricking the creeps and nerds to the alley together in a showdown. And this must be the scene that you're talking about. It just shows a bunch of guys in the alley. It shows guns going off, bullets flying, gunfire, lasers, people running. Everybody's fighting in this alley now that the creeps and nerds have met up.
That's a cool scene, but it's not the one I was talking about.
Not yet. And
yet.
Then it shows, it looks like Spawn's hand come up from behind a dumpster or something. And he's like, okay, I think they're just about finished. And there's one guy that looks like he still lives. And it looks like in the scene from the alley, everybody's dead pretty much, except for this one guy on Spawn. There's mutilated bodies everywhere, body parts, blood, guns, armor, and
by the way, the two big dudes, the nerd, his name is Byron, and the dude from the Creeps is named James. So very common names, not what you would expect. Oh, that's kind of funny to me.
Byron and James.
Like the baddest dude of them all is Byron.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's funny.
Spawn realizes there's one guy that's left. Has got super armor on. It's the type of military grade armor Spawn knew about. So he's like, there's no point in me attacking this guy flat out with his armor on, with his gun. It's not going to work. I don't have enough power to fight him with powers. So what he does, he says teleportation's the worst. So all of a sudden you see him teleport, and this guy thinks he's won. He's holding some of the bums hostage with his weapon, and it's probably fisting to kill him. And then Spawn's like, it's the only way. Armor's tough. He says, but like the escape artist Houdini said about a bank vault, has locked himself into. And all of a sudden you see this guy's eyes open up. He makes a blurt noise. And all of a sudden you see Spawn's fist pop out of his chest.
That's the scene I was talking about.
And in the next scene,
dude teleported inside of his body
and tore himself out of it. And there it is, guts and all. Couldn't get through the armor, but he can tear out of the armor, apparently. So he just destroyed the guy from the inside.
He was quoting Houdini about the bank vault. It's built to keep people out, not to keep people in.
Yeah. Keep people out, not in.
So yep. Oh, the classic Frank Miller.
And the last scene, Spawn's just casually tossing this dude's head on the ground. And life goes on, is what Spawn says in the alley. Just another day in Hell's Kitchen alley. Maybe not Hell's Kitchen alley, but
wherever.
Yeah. It's just
somewhere
in the alley.
In New York.
Yeah, it had some kind of a giant weird cyberpunk street gang war with nerds and creeps. And they wiped each other out, and Spawn saved the day again. Just a normal quick little issue. So
it was a fun issue, I thought.
It was definitely a turn from the last two. So,
but it also, like, I mean, how did he escape from wherever Angela's spear took him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a lot left unsaid and undiscovered.
There's a lot left, and I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they'll answer it. Maybe we just chalk it up to, hey, it's a comic book. Just read it, and what happens is what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just don't know. But also, like I just said, it's a comic book. I can suspend my disbelief. I don't need every tiny little question answered, especially when we got dudes teleporting inside of other dudes and tearing out of them, you know?
Yeah.
I can look past things when stuff like that's happening.
For sure.
But yeah, it was a fun issue. Anything else to say about it?
Nah, that's pretty
straightforward. Before we move on and touch on some of our usual topics. So, what anything about the art in these three issues? Any specific panels
obviously,
or scenes stick out to
you? The cover of number 9 is obvious. It was fantastic. You get lots of, I like the purple and pinks and reds and whites that Angela brings to a more usually dark contrast. Looking throughout the issue, the full scene with the medieval Spawn is pretty good. I mean, it's the first time you see him. And the rest of it is just kind of normal Todd McFarlane imagery. And nothing really stands out again to me until I think there was one more.
There's definitely one toward the end of this issue that I love.
And obviously now that we've been through all three, the quick sketch of the Cerebus world with the imprisoned heroes and writers and artists It's pretty cool now. Now when you look back on it, you're like, oh, that's just a quick penciled, probably maybe a real penciled rough draft of what was going to be in the next issue.
Yeah. Yep.
And as we go through, let's see if ours is the same. I really like
mine.
The hands coming up out of the cape. I really do think that McFarlane I always liked his hands, the way he did Spawn's hands.
Yeah.
So, what was yours?
Yep. But moving on a little bit past that, wherever Spawn pulls Angela into the cape and it's all lit up with the green.
Yep.
Even though there's a Brazilian teeth, I still love that.
Yeah, that's a good panel.
I love that drawing.
That's a good panel.
The colors are great. The use of shadows, I just love that.
Yeah, I love
it.
I like the. I'm always a sucker for some black and white with the tone of color.
Yeah,
it just goes good.
Yep.
And
in the next issue, well, if you were done with that,
no, that's it. I was going to say that's about it for 9 for me with the artwork.
Yeah. Number 10 was pretty, I don't know, pretty chill, I guess, as far as the art goes. There wasn't anything super crazy or anything. I did love the way that he drew Superman, quote unquote, in the shadows.
That's what I was going to say
really
too.
Cool. Yeah.
I did kind of like what he did at the very, very, very beginning, where it's I am Spawn and I am not Spawn. It's Spawn, two Spawn panels back to back, facing opposite, like negatives. And then there's
that was really cool.
And then there's more of the Violator. It kind of wraps up all the early Spawn stuff in one little panel. I thought that was pretty cool. And the Superman, like you said, and
and the part where he teleports, I love the way he does the teleportation effect in his art. Really cool. That was it. I mean, he draws Cerebus well.
Yeah,
I think Cerebus looks cool. I love the black and white pages.
Yeah, I did like the page right after he took their powers, where it's Spawn his capes unfurled and his hands like the universe.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty. And the Violator's pretty. Really the cool. Violator Justice is kind of cool. But you've seen the Violator before. Just not with the Justice woman's body. But yeah, other than that,
female Violator, I can do without.
Oh, and I'm glad I looked through. And I did want to talk about I'm no artist myself. I dabbled back in the day and we had fun and we got to what we thought was pretty good. So I can't really judge anyone like Todd McFarlane, but he needed work on his babies.
Yeah.
This baby head.
Yeah.
Doesn't. Oof. Yeah, it's strange. It's just real strange. It's an adult.
I think I like female I like female Violator more than I like this drawing of Cyan for sure.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not.
It's like a adult head. But like I say, I'm not. Who am I to judge Todd McFarlane? I'm nobody when it comes to. But as a fan and a consumer, I don't dig it.
Look,
I didn't dig it.
I'm not a chef. I'm not a chef, but I know when something doesn't taste good. The fact that you have to be an expert in any field to judge that field that everybody seems to have these days, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not an artist. What do you know? Well, I know what looks good. I know what doesn't look good just because I can't do it.
Yeah, you're right about that. So on to the next one.
Yeah.
This has to be, in my opinion, one of the least. It looks like this cover was rushed, in my opinion. There's a lot going on and not a lot, but there's a lot going on though. None of the people, even Spawn, doesn't really have any detail. It looks like it should have been an inside panel, like a quick panel,
like a small panel.
Yeah, like a small panel, not a full cover.
Like maybe a half-page splash or something.
Yeah, like an action sequence where he busts through the wall, in the middle of this fight. So
I think it's the ink. The inking is what makes it look so rough to me. I think it's like, Mark Teixeira. Remember how awesome he was on Wolverine and Ghost Rider?
Yeah, fantastic.
And he had that really rough, great. It looks like whoever inked this is trying to go for that style, but not quite hitting it.
No, leave that to.
And I don't know
text.
if Todd inked it. Yeah. Leave that to text for sure.
Yeah, and even throughout this issue, I don't know if this was a rush to get back to the main Spawn sequence, but some of the panels is not really detailed. There's Spawn with a nose again. I can't figure out why he keeps doing a nose and not a nose where the guy smacks him. He looks more human in some scenes and then not in the other ones. There's some classic blackout scenes of Spawn and just capes. And I don't think in this issue, nothing really kind of.
There's two for me really. And one, after the, what's his name? Boomer, after Boomer runs off, and Spawn picks up the gun, the next page where he's jumping.
I'm on that one right now, and that's
in the air.
Yeah.
I love that. Is like, that kind of feels like it's got to be an homage to Frank Miller on The Dark Knight Returns.
Well, look at the moon.
That's a very similar pose. Yeah, that's a very similar pose to Batman that he would do in Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, and I love that drawing.
Yeah, I like that.
I like the lighting, the underneath.
Yeah,
the lighting coming from below. I love that. And then on the next page where Spawn is crouched down by that skylight, that's the classic Spider-Man pose.
Yep. And yeah, I dig that one. Definitely the one you were talking about, but like I said, I'm just scrolling through. I really don't see anything else in this one that really stood out.
I do like the panel where he's which is actually the way it's set up on this digital version. I think it's a 2-page spread with all the chaos in the alley, all the dead bodies. I like that. That's really cool. I think he probably spent more time on these 2 pages than the rest of the book.
Probably so.
But I just think that looks really cool.
So you kind of agree this issue as art and story, this seems kind of like a filler issue just to get back into the mainstream universe of Spawn after being so far off.
It definitely feels like filler because, I mean, it doesn't really advance the story in any way. I think it's just a palate cleanser from the last 3 issues.
Yeah, honestly. just to kind of touch back down to Earth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they took you way off with with 9 and 10, and he wakes up
and 8. Don't forget 8, 9, and 10. Yeah,
and then all of a sudden he wakes. Was Angela even real? Did any of that even happen? Because he wakes up in the alley and he's back to normal Spawn. I mean, was it just a dream sequence that he tied in, or did this really happen? And we're going to find out later. I'm kind of excited to find out and see where it goes from here. So they did do that for you with those issues. We'll include 8 in that. I would have to. I would think 8, 9, 10, and 11. It's just, or 8, 9, and 10, and then your 11 jumps back in.
Yep. All right. Well, that's cool. And I clicked on the wrong thing here. Where's my outline? So that was the art. And we've only got a few minutes because I have to leave, which is unfortunate. But we tried to squeeze this in on a Sunday afternoon. So how do you feel about how extreme these issues were? Anything extreme? I mean, I'm just going to say that teleporting into a dude and busting out of him, that's pretty extreme.
I can say the whole extreme for issue 11. It's very extreme with the 90s pouches, the violence, the teleporting, ripping out a dude's body, tossing a head on the ground at the end. It's just like normal life. Extreme weirdness for the other ones. So
Todd McFarlane drawing a Frank Miller script is just that is extreme. And I love it.
Quick question for you.
I mean, it's just,
as a Miller, more of a Miller fan than I am, did this, do any justice to his writing, or did it feel like it was just kind of a right for hire just to kind of get more people in on the image side of the house?
I feel like, I think it was, a good filler issue written by Frank Miller.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it had the Miller tropes with like the weird dialogue that the gang members use. The like hyper extreme villains, the violence. I mean, guess what? Here's my little psycho right here. Yeah, it definitely, and she ran away. It definitely felt like Frank Miller writing a filler issue, which isn't a bad thing.
No,
I mean, it's not bad.
No, I was just curious about that.
And like it was a good, it was a good palate cleanser.
Yeah. And obviously, the 90s touches is extreme in that issue too. So as a 90s extreme is pretty, I'd say is maxed out on that issue.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Who was the MVP of these issues, or what was the MVP?
It may be obvious, but I really liked Angela. I like where the story was going. She was introduced and did a very good job of being the yin and the yang of good and evil. It was the first time that you visually seen it in a book of Spawn. So I would say Angela.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Dave Sim, his writing on issue 10. I love that issue. I love the allegory. I love, it's just good. It's a good issue. And I thought he did a fantastic job.
Yeah. So, and it served its purpose.
Your week?
It served its purpose as a slap in the face to the big two. So,
yeah.
And that was perfect.
What about your weakest link?
I would probably say almost the whole of issue 11. As
issue 11, yeah.
In my opinion. Not bad, but just.
No, it's not bad. Just compared to the other two.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're coming off
at
8, 9, and 10. And your mind's just being blown with all this different stuff that's happening in your back, and so without getting into it a lot.
I'll agree with that. It's the weakest link, but it's still a strong chain because that weakest link is not that weak, really.
Yeah, but out of those 4, in my opinion,
out of those, it is the weakest one. Yep. All right. What about action figures? What would make good action figures, or what did make, as the case is?
It would be my MVP, Angela.
Angela.
She makes. I've actually got that action figure, and they did make one, and I think it was the first deluxe because Todd Toys came out with your base model, and it was Fawn, Violator, Clown, and maybe 1 or 2 other ones, and then he came out with the deluxe edition, and it was Angela, and that was the first toy I actually ordered from a comic shop that actually came in and got delivered, and I had to go pick it up as well. That one kind of sticks out to me.
I wonder if Hasbro can make a Marvel Legends Angela.
That would be nice. I mean,
so she's with Marvel now.
Yeah.
So a couple hours after recording this, Casey sent me a text with a picture showing the Marvel Legends Angela figure that was released, I think, in 2017. So this whole section here is pointless because we're just talking about how cool it would be to have a Marvel Legends Angela figure. And it does exist, and I don't have it, and it's kind of pricey now to get it on eBay or wherever. So yeah, it exists, and I now take you back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yep, I think that's and Medieval Spawn is a cool action figure as well.
He is. I forgot. Sure.
Yep. All right. Well, let's give your final verdict. We need, I like to kind of do based our grading scale off things that happened in the book.
What's this one going to be?
So on a scale from 1 Aardvark to 10 Aardvarks.
There we go.
What do you give these 3 issues?
Together or separately, real quick, I think 9 on a whole would be probably an 8. I dig 9. 10 was probably a 10 just because of going into it and after finishing it and realizing what it was. It was just,
even with that really ugly cyan drawing, it still gets a 10.
Yeah, maybe a 9. Maybe I'll take one away.
Not 9.5.
Yeah, like an Amazon review. I would love to give this a 10, but
cyan is ugly.
That baby head threw me off. So you get a 9. You're right.
I wanted to. This is a perfect time to make this comment that I forgot. That Cerebus says that every infant looks like Winston Churchill, and that made me laugh really hard.
Yeah, he does say
Maybe
that.
that's why Todd drew her so ugly, because
Maybe so.
he says they look like Winston Churchill. So funny and so true. Safra gets mad at me all the time because I say all babies look exactly the same.
Yeah, until they get unwrinkled and unred and pink and number.
Yeah.
And the last one, I mean, good issue, filler issue for what it was, and overall rating I'll probably just do it like a 5 or 6.
Okay.
Because the artwork was kind of weak in my opinion. It kind of seemed rushed.
Yeah.
Yep. I appreciated the Frank Miller side of the house, with the language writing, because it kind of threw me off, and I really didn't understand what was going on until you told me. So it's just a normal issue to me. It does get a 10 out of 10 for extreme violence and pouches.
Yes.
If that was a separate rating. So.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you on those. I think overall it's probably the 3 issues together, which I guess we could keep lumping them together as the guest writer issues, even though 11 kind of deviates from the story, I guess. But
still a guest writer.
I think overall, I would say an 8.
Yeah,
overall, like the strength, 9 and 10 pull 11 up to me.
Yeah, it carries it
for
up.
Sure. Yeah. So
yeah,
so far we're 11 issues in, and I don't know. I like it. I'm glad we're doing this. It's fun to go back and read them, and they are good so far.
Yeah. And
good series.
I'm looking forward to more. And like I say, you've probably heard me say it a million times on this channel. I love backstory and you love world building, and I'm waiting patiently. And I hope we're not I'm hoping we're not disappointed in this series with lack of world building. But
these next few issues, I think, are gonna be what you want.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing more expanding. You know what I mean, on characters and the lore of Spawn.
Because the little stinger at the end of issue 11 says, "Next, who killed Spawn?" So I think we're going to get into some backstory, and I think it's about to get good.
So looking forward to that.
All right.
And
definitely looking forward to that.
By the way, that's a cool hat.
Oh yeah, thanks. My Dipper hat.
Yep. You never watched
greatest cartoon of the last decade and a half.
It is, and if you've never seen any of it, you need to watch it.
Gravity Falls, by the way, is the name of the show, and it's 2 seasons. It's a quick watch, and it is a wonderful watch. So good, hilarious, and speaking of world building, Alex Hirsch built the heck out of that world.
To do it with 2 seasons, that may be a whole nother show by itself together. Maybe we'll do a Gravity Falls show.
Goodness.
I'll invite my daughter on because we watched it together, and she is a huge Gravity Falls fan as well.
Yep, my kids too. We watched it this last weekend. They were here. But anyway, unfortunately, I have to wrap this up quickly because I have to go to church. Any last anything?
No, I think we got it pretty much summarized, in my opinion. So.
Well, with summer over, maybe we can be a little more consistent. I do have a baby coming soon, so that may just throw a monkey wrench in the whole consistency thing. But we'll see.
We'll pick up when we can.
Yeah, we'll do what we can. We've got to, like I said, we got the Toy Fest coming up, so we'll definitely be hanging out then and making a video. And we can always just do an episode of the Hangout where we just talk about random stuff. Gravity Falls.
Yeah, those work out pretty good too.
Whatever. Yeah. So anyway, thank y'all if you have stuck around this long. Thanks for hanging.
Yep.
And hopefully this makes you want to go back and read some Spawn comics, because that's what we're doing it for.
Yep.
So cool. Well, share with your friends, like, subscribe, all of that, y'all know. And we will catch you next time.
Later.